Let's get straight to the point. Number 8. The IKEA obsession. You used to get excited about concert tickets. Now a 20% off coupon for a Billy bookcase sends shivers down your spine. What happened? Welcome to the first sign you're cementing your status as a boring adult. You convince yourself you're just nesting, a primal instinct to create a safe haven. But let's be real. Your ancestors were building shelters to survive saber-toothed tigers, not debating the merits of birch veneer versus high-gloss white. Psychologically, this is your brain desperately trying to impose order on a chaotic world through the medium of flat-pack furniture. You get a little dopamine hit from successfully assembling a drawer unit without having 3 screws left over, a tiny victory in a life filled with crushing mediocrity. And let's not forget the meatballs. They're the culinary peak of your month now, aren't they? This isn't just about home decor, it's about control. The science folks call it the Endowment Effect, where you wildly overvalue something just because you sweated over it with a tiny Allen key for 4 hours. You're not building a home, my friend. You're building a monument to your slow slide into suburban oblivion, one confusing instruction manual at a time.
Number 7. Treating your pet like a licensed therapist. Ever caught yourself explaining the nuances of your office drama to a golden retriever who's currently trying to eat its own foot? You tell yourself it's because he's a good listener, but let's be honest, he's a captive audience who literally can't leave. When real humans are too judgmental to hear about your third failed sourdough starter, you turn to Mr. Fluffernutter. This is anthropomorphism. Your brain is so desperate for a sounding board that it projects complex human empathy onto a creature that thinks a spicy fly is a 5-star meal. Scientifically, interacting with pets spikes your oxytocin, the cuddle hormone, which lowers cortisol and makes you feel less like a discarded potato. But there's a limit. If you're asking your cat for career advice, you're not just a pet parent. You're using a fur-covered sponge to soak up the silence of a house that's way too quiet. Your dog doesn't understand your burnout. He just wants to know why you're crying into his fur when there's a perfectly good tennis ball nearby. It's sweet, sure, but it's also a neon sign flashing, "I need a human friend," in the middle of your living room.
Number 6. The midnight Wikipedia rabbit hole. It's 3 a.m., and instead of sleeping, you're knee-deep in the list of individual trees page. Why? Because the silence is louder than a jet engine, and your brain needs a distraction. This isn't curiosity, it's a desperate attempt to drown out the existential dread that visits at night. Your prefrontal cortex is a dopamine-seeking missile. When life goes quiet, it hunts for trivia to avoid realizing you haven't had a real conversation in days. Scientifically, this is information foraging. Your brain treats useless facts like survival resources because it can't handle zero social stimuli. You tell yourself you're a genius, but you're just a guy in his boxers who knows too much about staplers. Every link is a tiny bridge to a world that doesn't need you to know the melting point of gallium. It's mental junk food, empty calories for the soul. You're filling the void with data because the alternative is listening to your own thoughts, asking why you're so alone. You aren't learning, you're just hiding in the footnotes, hoping the next click makes you feel okay.
Number 5. The comfort show loop. You've watched The Office so often, you know Dwight's middle name better than your own mother's birthday. Why? Because these characters are the only stable people in your life. You aren't just watching TV, you're building a parasocial relationship, the scientific term for being best friends with someone who doesn't know you exist. Your brain is lazy. When lonely, the cognitive load of a new plot is too much, so it craves the familiar. It's the mere exposure effect. The more you see a character, the more your brain treats them like a real neighbor. This reduces cortisol because your amygdala knows there are no surprises. You tell yourself it's comfort, but it's an emotional shield. You're using fictional banter to mask the silence of your house. It's like having friends who never forget to text back. But let's be real. Chandler Bing isn't helping you move. You're living in a loop of recycled jokes because real talk feels like a high-stakes game. You're in a digital echo chamber where the punchlines always land. It's safe and a red flag that you're substituting pixels for pulses. You aren't relaxing. You're hiding in a sitcom where no one leaves you.
Number 4. The AI best friend.
You've started saying please and thank you to ChatGPT like it's your favorite grandma. You tell yourself you're being polite for the robot uprising, but really you're just desperate for a reply that doesn't involve a read receipt. This is the social brain hypothesis in reverse. Your brain is so wired for connection that it'll accept code as a confidant. Scientifically, your medial prefrontal cortex, which processes social info, is firing up when you chat with a bot. You're tricking your gray matter into thinking you're having a coffee date with an algorithm. It's sad, but at least the AI doesn't judge your weird hobbies. You're pouring your soul into a text box, hoping for humanity from a machine predicting words based on math. You've moved past smart home into tech dependency. You aren't using a tool, you're building a bridge to nowhere. You aren't tech savvy, you're just outsourcing your life to a silicon therapist. You're debating life with a calculator because the silence is talking back and the machine never leaves you unread.
Number 3, the shopping cart purgatory. You have 15 tabs open and your digital cart contains $400 worth of items you will never, ever buy. You tell yourself you're curating your life, but really, you're just window shopping for a personality. This is a classic dopamine loop. Scientifically, your brain releases the feel-good chemicals during the anticipation of a reward, not just the reward itself. By adding that high-end blender or those hiking boots to your cart, you get the psychological high of being a person who makes smoothies or climbs mountains without actually having to leave your couch or talk to a salesperson. It's the ultimate low-risk, zero-reward behavior. You're building a fantasy version of yourself to distract from the reality that your most significant social interaction today was nodding at the delivery guy. You're suffering from decision fatigue in the real world, so you retreat to a digital mall where you can pretend to have a life that requires a $1,000 espresso machine. It's a retail therapy placebo. You aren't shopping, you're just hoarding.
Number 2. The Shower Debate Championship. You just won a world-class debate and received a standing ovation from your loofah. You're in the shower, steam rising, destroying an imaginary opponent with sharp logic. Why? In reality, you froze when asked about cream, but in this tiled hall, you're the king of rhetoric. This is your brain's default mode network going into overdrive. When socially starved, your mind creates social simulations to keep gears from rusting. Scientifically, you're engaging in cognitive rehearsal, a survival mechanism for threats that don't exist. You aren't prepared, you're just lonely enough to find comfort in a conflict with a ghost. You're filling the void with your own voice because it's the only one you've heard all day. You're judge and jury in a court that only holds sessions between soaping and rinsing. You're crafting a comeback for a 2019 talk, hoping it'll fill the gap where a friend should be. It's a performance for an audience of zero. Even the shampoo thinks you're dramatic. You're using the echo to pretend the world is listening. It's a safety net, an argument you can't lose. It is a symptom of your social drought. You are a champion of a fake world.
Number 1. The digital self-audit. You spend hours rereading your own sent messages or old social posts. You aren't checking for typos, you're admiring a version of yourself that once had something to say. You're a narcissist in a vacuum, performing for a past that no longer exists via your brain's mirror neuron system. Without feedback, you loop your digital footprint to confirm you exist, ghost hunting in archives for proof of life. Scientifically, you seek identity validation because reality is deafeningly quiet. You analyze old tones, wondering if a lol was desperate or your punctuation too cold. It's ultimate self-gaslighting. You aren't reflecting, you're obsessing over a ghost you call yourself. You're the historian of your own loneliness, archiving a persona while the real you melts into the sofa. You're curation-obsessed, treating chat history like a museum where you're the only visitor. You try to be your own best friend, but you're just a stalker of your own memories. This is the end. You read your own words to remember who you were. You are the champion of a void.
If these psychological deep dives hit a little too close to home, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. We post new videos every day to help you navigate the strange quirks of the modern mind. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss a breakdown. Thanks for watching, stay curious, and we'll see you in the next one.